What's up, everybody? I'm Dre, and this is going to be part 2 to building an automated trading system. Make sure you check out part 1 if you haven't already. In this video, we're going to focus more on debugging and how to use prints even better to help solve some issues you may encounter in your own code. I just want to say this is built for fun and not meant to be profitable, so use at your own risk. But the code for this and all my other indicators are available on my Discord, and the link is going to be in the description down below. So make sure you check it out. But with that being said, let's get into it. All right, and we're picking up right where we left off. So as you can see, I've added comments to pretty much every line here. And this is pretty much just for anybody who downloads this and wants to learn what each line does. In this video, I want to focus a bit more on debugging and a better way to use prints to figure out some issues some users have actually experienced while using this auto trader. And we want to make sure we do this before we start adding extra logic, such as your trend lines, dual entries, really anything else. This is because as you start adding more complex things, you will almost certainly run into some issues that need some sort of debugging, like calculation errors, a bracket, curly brace in the wrong place, maybe your formula is off. I know my brain doesn't always work when it comes to math. So whatever it may be, we need a way to sort through all the data a little more efficiently so we can focus where the problem is, and this will help us solve issues much faster. So in the last video, I showed you how to use the prints, and that gets sent to your Ninja script output. So from here, we're going to make this a little more efficient. And how we're doing that is we're going to split up every print into a separate category. This is just so when you're in your actual strategy, we're going to give a few more options so you can select exactly which prints you want to see. And this will help you sort through all the different prints that we're going to be using. So how we do that is we add a few more booleans. So first we have to define them, and I'm going to make one for each set. So the current count is going to have its own boolean. The reversal offset prints is going to have its own. Same with the entry offset, stop offset, the reversal pattern. I might just include that one with the reversal offset. And your break even and your trail stop. We're going to make all separate, and we're going to put them up here on the default settings. So we're going to do a reversal bar prints, and I'm going to set all of these to false because anytime I load a strategy, I want to select the ones I want to actually see on the Ninja script output. And to not make this video too long, I'm going to stop it right here and I'm going to add all of them and I'll show you afterwards. Okay, so we have our reversal bar prints, our entry prints, stop, current count, and our trail stop. And then from here, we're going to go down to our properties and we're going to add them to our print section. And we are going to just add each boolean, define them in here. So I just copied and pasted the first one, and we are just going to add this name that we defined right into this public bool. And we're going to change the name as well. And the order number is going to change to 2. Make sure you keep the group name the same so you can find it all in the same category. And I'm just going to do the same for all the new bools that we just added. So again, I'll see you in a second. Okay, and we're back. So here we just have our reversal bar prints, entry prints, stop prints, same thing that we defined up here. And now we're going to start adding those into our logic. So we scroll down. So we're going to start with our reversal offset. So here we can go inside of system print. We can make another variable. So if reversal bar prints or curly brace, and then we can just move everything right in there and we'll clean this up. So what I'm telling it from here is if the system print option is selected and the reversal bar prints option is also selected, then it's going to print these to your Ninja script output whenever it's supposed to print it out. If they're not selected, you're not going to see them here. It's still going to do your calculations, it's just not going to do the prints. Next, we're going to add our entry print, and this is exactly the same, just with the different bool, obviously. And again, if your system print is selected and the entry print is selected, then it will print these out. And from here, I'm going to add the exact same concept for all your prints to all the other ones that we have. So for the stop, I'm going to use the stop for all your offset, and for all your trail stops, I'm going to do the trail prints. And this is just to keep the video short. I'll show you what it looks like after. Okay, and we're back. So as you can see, I've added a new boolean for each set of prints depending on their category. So our current count with the current count, any sort of trail related print is with the trail print section. You have your stop, your entry, your reversal. Everything is now categorized in its own section. The next thing I want to do is have something that's going to show me the time your print gets sent to your Ninja script output. So in the case there's an error in a one certain candle and you need to know exactly what time that happened so you can reference the output at that exact moment, I'm going to show you how to do that. And we're going to add this to, again, all your prints. And how we do that is easy. We just add, we're going to add a space here, and that's just to space it out. And then we're going to add time. And because we are looking at the reversal candle once we're on our current candle, so we're looking one candle back, we're going to say time 1, which is the previous candle, and that's going to print out the time for the actual reversal candle. And we're going to copy and paste all of this to each print. So anything that gets printed out, we also have the time and the date. And I'm going to add all of these again, and I'll show you what it looks like after. Okay, so I've added the time to all of our prints. We're going to hit compile. First, let's set our prints. So we go into our strategy, and let's say we only want to see our current count and our entry prints. So we hit apply, okay, enable our strategy, and we hit play. So from here, you can see it's going to print our time. So I'm just going to hit the pause real quick, and you can see from here, it prints our date and our time to each and every single print. And that way, if we need to reference, let's say this 9:43:31 candle. So we go down here and boom, 9:43:31. So we know exactly which candle this print is talking about. And now from here, I've noticed one thing that's been bothering me a little bit. And although this is only printing once every bar because of this first tick of bar, it's still unnecessarily printing a lot. And there's a way we can make this a little bit more efficient. And that is by hiding it behind our reversal pattern. So we have our reversal logic, which when this condition is true, it gives us a boolean of true. When it is not true, it gives us a condition of false. So in reality, we don't need to be calculating our entry or our stop on every bar until this becomes true. There's just no need for it because you're not entering into a trade if your reversal pattern is not true. So we can collapse that. Let's bring our reversal logic up here. And we are going to create another condition down here. So from here, what I'm saying is if the market position is flat, so you're not in any trades, and either the current bull reversal pattern is true or the current bear reversal pattern is true, which are these ones down here, only then are we able to do our entry and our stop offsets. So that's going to prevent this from calculating on every single bar, though we don't actually need any of those calculations. The next thing I want to do is, just before we start getting into a bit more debugging, I want to create a few more regions. I know I'm a little obsessive over this. I just like to have something clean to look at, and I can expand it if I need the code, collapse it when I don't need it, so I can focus exactly on where I need to be. You don't have to do this. I'm just going to add this real quick. So, for example, up here on position update, I want to hide the current count under its own region, and then the trail stop logic under its own separate region. I don't like looking at all of this and trying to figure out what is what. I like to just click on the region I want, and it shows me exactly what I need. So region current count, and we can end region, and we do the same for this one. And again, you don't have to do this. This is just for my visual. Okay, so we added a new region for the current count and the trail stop on the on position update. Then just the trail stop update for the first tick of bar. And we also hid our trail stop into its own section, so you can expand it and see what you need to see from here. So we're going to hit compile, and then we can move on. Okay, so now that we have all that set, and in my opinion, a much cleaner chart, let's go through an actual issue somebody has experienced while using this auto trader. So the problem that's happening is whenever the user selects a higher offset for the reversal candle, it doesn't seem to actually do anything. It's just taking every single reversal candle regardless of the offset. So we're going to test this out, and we're going to use the prints to make sure that's actually happening. The first step with any problem, I always like to verify there is actually a problem before I start trying to solve something that may in fact be how it was designed. You always want to make sure that whatever the user is describing, that it is actually a fault. You don't want to start changing codes. You don't want to mess with your formulas and go down the rabbit hole of forums and guides without actually knowing the problem exists. Always, always, always go back into your code and try and look at it from the user's perspective. So I'm going to set the tick offset to 3. We are going to change our indicator to 3, so it's only going to highlight exactly what it's supposed to trade. So if it trades anything that is not highlighted, then we know we have a problem. And actually, let's go back into our strategy. Make sure your daily profit, daily loss is set to a higher number, so our strategy doesn't stop trading before we can verify the problem. Now that we have all of our prints in separate sections, let's do the ones that may affect this. So we want our entry, our reversal bar, and yeah, that should be it. So we hit apply, and let's bring our Ninja script output to the chart and hit play. Okay, so we can already see that we verified there is a problem in here because it took this trade as a short while this candle is not highlighted. So what we can do is we look at the time of the candle, which we look down here, 9:36:44, and we can come up to our output and see where 9:36:44 is. Okay, so we can just highlight everything with 9:36:44 because that is our candle. And we'll go through our offset calculations. So our percentage is set to 0, so that's true. That's good. Our price was set to 1 cent, so that's showing as true. Our tick calculation, remember we set it to 3 ticks, not 1. But right now it's showing as just 1 tick, which is 25 cents. And our candle bar offset, which is the highest number of these three, is again showing the 1 tick. So from here, we know that the price is acting right, the percentage is acting right. Something has to be up with our tick calculation. So let's go back to our code and let's open up our reversal offset. Okay, so we have our percentage calc. We said that's good. Price calc is good. So our problem is with our tick calculation. And I can already see the problem is from copying and pasting at 5 in the morning when I made the first video. So we had this set to our tick offset entry, which is actually meant for our entry offset, not our reversal pattern offset. So whatever this number is supposed to be, it was getting mixed up here. So if we delete this, collapse that, and now we can compile, and it should work properly now. So let's pull up our chart again. We'll close this, disable, enable. And I'm going to move this over here so we can see a little bit better. And make sure it's enabled and hit play. And now it's just going to take the ones that are highlighted. Okay, so there actually, this candle right here went 1 tick below the previous. So if we have this set to a 1 tick, it should highlight, and it did not enter. So that tells me that this code is working correctly now. So the first step is verify the problem actually exists. The last step is verify the problem is resolved. Okay, so let's head back to our code. Okay, so the next issue somebody mentioned was that whenever they play the strategy, it works fine for the first day that it runs, but in the scenario where they run it for multiple days, then on that second day, it would stop taking trades. So this could obviously be an issue if you want to run this for multiple days and you want to get a bigger sample of all your profits and losses. So we're going to go through the code and verify the problem and try and resolve this. So while we're trying to resolve it, I want to see on our Ninja script output what is happening whenever a new day starts. I want to set another print under our current count because this is supposed to reset and allow the user to start taking new trades again. So I'm just going to copy and paste this from our on position update current count. I'm just stealing the same code here for the prints, and I'm pasting it right under here. And I'm going to name this first bar. And this is just so whenever the first bar of a new session starts, it should print out a current count that is equals to 0. And I just want to verify that is actually happening. And because I want this to print out on the most current candle once that new bar starts on the new session, we can change this time to the most current candle, which is 0. Next, I want to print out our current P&L whenever our position updates. So this I'm going to print out up here on position update. And actually, let me fix this. Okay, so again, I'm going to steal a print and I'm going to copy and paste this line of code for the P&L, and I can paste it right over this. And this one, I'm just going to call it P&L update. And again, I want this on the most current candle. So we can just change that to 0. And we hit compile and pull up our chart. Okay, from here, we want to go into our strategy. Because our P&L is outside of any of these parameters, it's always going to print. We'll fix that later on once we verify this issue. But for now, we also want to make sure the current count prints is selected. And we want to give ourselves a little bit of room to verify any sort of problem that's happening. So I'm going to say 5 trades, 1,500 profit, negative 1,200 loss. We'll hit apply, hit OK. We'll enable the strategy and hit play. Okay, I'm going to pause it for a second. So here we can see it went minus 1,600, which is less than minus 1,200. So that's when it stops trading. And it only took 2 trades altogether. So from that, we can tell on this day, so far our current count, or at the very least our P&L is working properly. Let's keep playing this and wait till the new session starts. Okay, and with the E-mini, it starts at 6 p.m. on that same day. So when this yellow line right here starts, that's 6 p.m. It's a new session, so it should reset our current count, which our Ninja script output stays empty. So that's telling me there's a problem with how our current count is being reset. So let's go back into the code and figure this one out. So we have the first bar of the session. Your current count should be set to 0, and we have a print that should verify this condition. So most likely it's getting skipped somewhere, or this condition is not able to fulfill for whatever reason. So we're going to start from our on-bar update, because remember the code starts from the top and it works its way down. So this, yes, we have more than 2 bars. It is real time. Well, playback, but real time and playback. Bar since new trading day is less than 1. Okay, so this is actually most likely our problem. So with the bars since new trading day less than 1, I'm telling it to return, to stop with the code, go back, start over. The new trading day is also at the first bar of sessions. So essentially, what I'm actually saying here is when a new bar starts and it's the first bar of session, to return to no longer continue with anything else that is down here, which means nothing down here is actually getting executed. So when we're saying the first bar of session, it never actually reaches the first bar of session because the code is down here. So our current count never actually gets reset. So that's going to be an easy fix. Let's take all of this, and we're going to move it up over the bar since new trading day. And we're going to hit compile. So let's pull up the chart and we'll head back to, I don't know, let's say 2 p.m. on the previous trading session. We enable. Okay, so we'll pause it and we can see the system took 5 trades. Our P&L never hit a max profit or a max loss, but because of our max current count, it's going to stop trading. And now you can see once the new session starts, our current count now gets reset back to 0. So I'm going to keep playing it till it hits 9:30, because that's when our strategy can start trading again. So now it took another 5 trades and still it hasn't hit any sort of profit or loss for the daily. From here, we can verify the current count is now working properly and it's resetting on each new day. So now we've isolated the current count and we verified the current count works. And now I want to go back to a previous day and make it so our daily profit or our daily loss get hit. That way we can see and verify if there's an issue with our profit limits. So let's head back to 9:30 the previous day. Okay, and we're back at 9:30 and we're going to hit play. Our loss limit got hit before our current count. So I just want to see if this gets reset on a new day. There's our first bar of the session. Our current count gets reset. Now we just have to wait till 9:30 to see if it takes any new trades. And it's 9:30 and no new trades. So now we know our current count works, but our daily profit loss limit do not get reset. So let's see if we can solve this issue. So let's go back into our code. Okay, so now we know that our current way of setting a daily profit and daily loss limit doesn't seem to work if you're trading for more than one day. So what we need to do is find a way to reset your P&L back to zero on each new day. So how we do that is we're going to need a few variables. We need one that is going to store your total P&L, another one that's going to store your P&L for the previous days, not including your current P&L, and a variable that's going to reset that back to zero for the day. So don't worry, we're going to go through it and we'll see if we can make this work. So let's go to our on position update first. So what we want to type out is if your position is flat, so once you're exited out of a trade, and then if you have taken any trades previous to being flat, so if a trade has taken place, then we're going to assign a new double variable that's going to store your current P&L. So when you're exited out of any trade and it's counted as a trade, then this variable will store whatever number is in your realized profit. And we'll see how this works in just a little bit. Next, we want to go back down to the first bar of session. And now the way I like to do this is I want to store this same P&L, but I only want to store it once at the very beginning of the session. And this is going to be important to reset it because then we can subtract this number once at the very beginning and start over at zero. So if that doesn't make sense, let me go through it, and we're going to use sprints and we'll see the full calculation. So let's do something like the cumulative P&L, come P&L. It's not as dirty as it sounds. And this is going to be equals to our total P&L. But the difference here is this is only going to be calculated on the first bar of the session, while your total P&L is always going to be calculated anytime you enter a new trade. So next, we need a variable that's going to be strictly to reset your daily P&L back to zero. So let's call this one daily P&L equals, and we're going to say your total P&L minus your cum P&L. Okay, so now that we have this, we can actually go ahead and get rid of our previous way of doing our daily profit and loss. And we're going to go to our long trade and we're going to add our condition here. So now what I'm telling it is if all of these conditions that we had previous are true. And also our daily P&L is greater or and our daily P&L is less than our daily profit limit, then it is okay to enter these trades. So now we require these conditions to be true in order to enter your trade. And we do the same for our short trade as well. And now, because we've added this negative to our daily loss limit, we can actually come up here to our daily loss limit and we can get rid of our negative here. So now, instead of remembering to type out a negative number for our loss, we can just type a regular full number and it'll automatically convert it to a negative. So make sure if you're using this one to remember it's just a full number now. Next thing I want to do before I forget, for all our new double variables, we have to make new private variables. So private double total P&L. Okay, we can hit compile. And actually, let's add some more prints so we can see on the Ninja script output exactly what's happening. And we can call this daily P&L prints, and we'll set that to false as well. Next, let's scroll down, and we're going to add some more prints to our on-bar update for the first bar of the session. So while you're in the system print, you can just space out a little bit, and we're going to add our daily P&L prints. And whenever it is our first bar of a session, it's just going to print out our total P&L, the cumulative P&L, and our daily P&L. And actually, to make it so it only prints once on that first bar of session, we can also give it a first tick of bar, and then you'll only see the one print instead of multiple for that first bar. Okay, that looks good. And for the on position update, we just have to add a few more things. So anytime you enter into a trade, you have to keep your daily P&L updated. So it's going to equal your total P&L minus your cumulative P&L. And just to save time, I'm going to copy and paste all of our prints so we can see exactly what's happening on our Ninja script output. So I just have a print for our total P&L, our cumulative P&L, and our daily P&L on the on position update. Then I want to print out a message when our daily loss limit gets hit and when our daily profit limit get hit. So I'm going to hit compile and we're going to run this after we add the property. So just head down to the properties, prints. I want this right under our current count. So I'm just going to copy, paste this, daily P&L prints, copy, paste. Let's change the order number to 6, change this one to 7. Now it should compile. Okay, let's pull up our chart. We're back at 9:30. We're going to set our Ninja script output. So let's go into our strategy. Make sure we have our daily P&L and our current count selected. We'll give this as well. And remember, you no longer need that negative number. So if you're following along, make sure you delete this negative. And we can set this to $1,500. And this is going to be a $1,500 loss now. Again, you do not need the negative anymore. So we hit apply, enable our strategy, and hit play. Okay, let's pause. So our current count is 2, 1 trade, 2 trade. Then we can see our current P&L that has been realized. And eventually we get stopped out at negative 1,600. So that is under our $1,500 loss limit, which gets printed out down here. So our daily loss of 1500 has been hit, no more entries, and our P&L is at negative 1600. So I'm going to keep playing this and see if now we have better luck in resetting in the new session. All right, so it's a new session. You can see it's at 6 o'clock, it resets, and our current count is at 0. Our total P&L is still at 1600. That remains at the negative 1600. Our cumulative P&L is going to take that same number, so still negative 1600. And then our daily P&L will subtract these two, and it resets back to 0. So let's hit play again and wait till 9:30 a.m. and it should start trading again. There we go. Okay, so when it took its first trade and it finally exited out of the trade at 9:32, we had a daily P&L of $275 profit, which brought our current P&L down to $13.25. But for the purpose of our daily P&L, it's just using the 275, and that's what's counting towards your limit for the day. So then on your second current count trade, again, once it exited at 9:33, and keep in mind it's also updating once you enter into the trade, but these numbers will be updated again once you exit out of the trade. And here we took a loss that brought our daily P&L to minus 375. So our current total P&L is minus 1975. And lastly, for our third trade, we took another loss. This one only brought us down to minus 400. So it's like a one tick loss. And our realized profit is now 2000, negative 2000. And that's the same as your current realized profit. But your daily P&L still stays at whatever it is for that day. And I'm just going to run it for another day. So it hit our current count of 5. And then at 6 o'clock, it should reset again. And we have to wait till 9:30 a.m. for it to start trading because that is our criteria. And there we go. So first we verified the problem, and then using prints, we were able to figure out exactly where our problems were, and we were able to take the steps to fix the issue. And then once that happened, we verified it works. So now it seems the problem is resolved, and then we can move on. So again, just to save a little bit of time on the video, I'm going to clean up the code a little bit, just add more regions, spread it out so it's a bit easier to read. And I'm also going to add comments to each line, just so anybody trying to learn this knows exactly what each line does, and they can follow along and hopefully learn a little bit from this. So that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, make sure you leave a thumbs up. Part 3 will be coming out very soon, where we add some trend lines to help determine the direction of the trades you want to take. So if that's something that interests you, make sure you watch out for that video. But that's the end of this video. Thanks again for watching, and as always, take care, enjoy.